Inderdaad, maar volgens mij, ik kan het nu opnemen.
Okay.
So, just for good record, good measure, this lecture is being recorded, so you can all watch it back later. Only your voice will be recorded, if any, if you say something. If you don't want to be part of the recording, please send me an email and let me know, and I will cut you out. And if not, then whatever. Your face is not on here. Hopefully. I don't have a nice privacy policy. So how many of you here are new? Or haven't been here for the last lecture yet? Is Neha here? Otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
Okay, so there are 3 new ones so far in the chat.
Yeah, Neha.
Four, okay.
Hi. Technically, we should have 15, but yeah, like
15 people, 15 new people.
15 new people.
Okay. Well, last week there were only 8 people, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's an improvement. See if I. That's already 3 plus. Probably start. Check if anyone has. Okay, let's see. Are you also all able to access the recaps and the recordings?
If you didn't have time to check it for today, that's makes sense.
No,
that's okay.
That's very, very understandable.
But at least you have access to them, so that should be fine.
Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, I wanted to get them out yesterday, but
It's a lot.
Microsoft, it's I recorded all lectures. Apparently, there was no sound. Fun.
Great.
Yeah, so I have to do it again. So if I sound a bit exasperated in lectures or now, that is why. Great.
Okay.
It won't be super important for, well, I mean, it won't be super important for today because it's mostly recap of things we also did in the beginner's course and things. And I think we should just start. So welcome everyone. Welcome everyone who's new to the Dutch Advanced course, given online now. Yes, okay, never mind. Okay, agents. Okay, we'll distract. That's fine. Welcome. So this is the advanced course. If you're new, unfortunately, you missed the first 3 lectures. Fortunately, there are the recaps and the recording of the last lecture, so I hope you can catch up. In principle, the last lecture is not, I would say, that important. The second lecture is, I think, more important because it deals with sentence structure and word order. That's a very complicated part of the Dutch language, but also a very important one. So please go check that out again if you want. If you check that one out and find it a bit complicated for some reason, this lecture for the beginner's course that I will do after this class also deals with word order, but in a more simple way. So maybe check that out if you want. I will put the link here as well. Yes, that's it. I would normally do an introduction round, but doing it online it's too much hassle. So unfortunately, I will skip it. Are there any questions about the setup of the course you have? Or other questions? Basically, we will have this lecture and then 6 or 7, including this one. We're still not really sure about the last lecture, but we will notify you.
Okay, so there are groups for the speech exercises or those kind of things. So you don't have to do anything with those subgroups for now, but maybe we'll do something with it later.
Yeah, so we can put you in groups, and then you can start a meeting with the 2 or the 3 of you, and you can have kind of a private chat, just like you would have in class. And we can just jump in and then help you if you have questions, or just spy on you to see how you're doing, just like we do in class as well. That's one of the pros of the Teams thing. It was a bit messy last time, but I think now we have a bit of a better grasp of how it works. Hopefully, it will go a bit more smoothly. Okay, so that being said, then we will just move on.
Did you put in the exercise of last week as well? Not the homework, but the other one that they had to do, or do we have to go through that like manually? No, we can go by it like just manually. Should be fine. I mean, it's just a yes or a no.
Yes. No. If you did that, very good. Maybe we'll sign at the end to go over that. If not, then you just got more practice done. So first we'll go through the homework of list 13. And would you want to do this, Mina?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll just take over for now. Okay. So I thought I've seen 2 people who were there last week that are now here, so it's up to you guys. And for the rest, it's just a little bit of a recap what we did last week, so just check to see if you get it or. All right. So exercise 1. We had some sentences and you had to fill in the right form of the verb. Just in the present. Anyone who was there last week want to fill us in?
Yeah, I think it is vanavond gaan wij naar de bioscoop.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Very good.
Dus gaan wij. Very good. So vanavond gaan wij naar de bioscoop.
Okay. Could it be? Sorry, I have a question. Could it be gaan wij, or does it have to be gaan wij?
No, you can also put the informal version. So gaande.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so the next question was something het bonnetje with a question mark. And then you say nee hoor, bedankt. Anyone?
I think it's Bill J.
Very good. And that could also be wil je. So that's both possible.
Okay.
All right. So you have to fill in to know. Het antwoord op deze vraag.
It's zij weten.
Okay. Very good. Zij weten het antwoord op deze vraag. Oké. Next. Ik ga morgen naar de tandarts, want something kiespijn?
I think it's ik heb.
All right, very good. And the last sentence. Zij heeft veel fans omdat ze play the guitar. Any takers?
I think it's gitaar speelt.
Very good. All right, perfect. Does anyone want translations or everything's clear?
Yeah, for the fifth one, maybe.
Okay, so she has a lot of fans because she plays the guitar. But in Dutch, the guitar usually comes first before the verb.
Okay, thank you.
But about the structure of sentences, that's already been, so you can check that lesson out after this. And then if you have any questions afterwards, just ask them next time. All right, exercise 2. So you had to fill in the right form or the right, the right form of the verb. No, pronoun.
Yeah. No, I didn't put the animation on this one. Too bad. Spoilers.
Oh, good. All right, in case anyone hasn't seen it. Het is oktober, dus ik ga maand stoppen met roken.
Deze maand.
Okay. Next one. Someone mag niet autorijden zonder rijbewijs. So someone can't drive without their driver's license.
Je mag niet autorijden zonder jouw rijbewijs.
Good. So in the next one, hebben deze leerlingen something huiswerk gemaakt? So did the students do their homework?
I think it is hun.
Good. All right. Stipje aan de horizon is een vliegtuig. Sorry, shift to English there.
Dat.
Dit stipje. Dit stipje aan de horizon.
And why did you choose for dit?
It's het stipje, so it's neutral, so we use dit.
Okay. In this case, you could also use dat because it's far away. So you could say if it's far away, dat stipje, and if it's close by, you would say dit. So, for example, if I have something on my desk, I would say dit. For example, het boek. Then I would say dit boek op mijn bureau. But if it's somewhere else, like Thomas just threw his book away last week, then it will be pointing at it, dat boek, and it would be somewhere in the room, but further away. But if you would say dit, we would also understand it, so that would also be okay. But usually we would say dat because it's further away. And then the last one, doet altijd en dan best.
Hij doet altijd zijn best.
Okay, very good. Perfect. All right.
All right. So then we move on to the verb of the week, het werkwoord van de week, which we always do. The verb of the week this week is doen, which you've probably seen before. Doen means to do.
I think you have to take over, right?
Yeah, I need the control. Checking if I was still recording. And I was. Okay, so the verb of the week is to do. And which is conjugated in the present tense as ik doe, jij doet, hij, zij, het doet, wij doen, jullie doen, zij doen. Not very easy. Oh.
If someone can see the display.
Oh yeah, so that sometimes happens, and I think the only fix is to log out and log in again, which is really annoying. But I think that usually works. That almost always works, and otherwise, okay. I'll try to go a bit slowly for you. The past tense of to do. To do is an irregular verb in English and also in Dutch. That's a useful rule of thumb you can use. And the irregular past tense of to do is ik deed, jij deed, hij deed, wij deden, jullie deden, zij deden. And then voltooid deelwoord, the past participle, which we will finally treat today, so you can finally know what to do with that, is gedaan. So it is ik heb gedaan, jij hebt gedaan, hij, zij, het heeft gedaan. This is wrong again. It's like always wrong. Wij hebben gedaan, jullie hebben gedaan, zij. So this is I have done, you have done, he, she, it has done, we have done, etc. And yeah, in this lesson, we will go over how to do that. But before we do that, we will have a kind of a recap about all the other tenses that we had, just briefly, because again, I already made there's the recaps about this, and we already did a recap of the first lesson, and you already know this, so we'll go very quickly through this. But to check whether you still know this, there's an exercise, and instead of just having you do the exercise, I want to go through it together, because I think that will be a bit more fun. It's not that hard. Oh, I again forgot the thing. You can see anything. So, if you just look at your booklet, then we'll go through it like this. The exercise is, vul de juiste vorm van het werkwoord in. Dus in de tegenwoordige of verleden tijd. So, fill in the correct tense of the verb. The first sentence is, waar je vroeger naartoe op vakantie. The verb you have to conjugate is gaan. So what is the correct conjugation?
Are we supposed to answer or?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's ging.
Ging, yes, very good. So the past tense. Waar ging je vroeger naartoe op vakantie? You know, it's the past tense because the word vroeger is there. The second one, wat jullie favoriete vakantieland? And the verb is zijn. Great, that worked. What is the correct conjugation?
Is it zijn or
No.
is?
Is, yes.
Is,
So
yeah.
the subject here is wat. Wat is jullie favoriete vakantieland? All right, the third one. And it means, what is your favorite holiday destination? Third, jullie gisteren in Utrecht. And the verb is fietsen. What's the correct conjugation of fietsen?
Is it fietste jullie gisteren in Utrecht?
Yes, fietsten jullie gisteren in Utrecht. Oh, someone took control of the thing. Try not to do that. I can't physically stop you from doing it. Oh, yeah. And this one does it. There we go again. Perfect thing. Yes, there we are again. Okay, so fietsten jullie gisteren in Utrecht? Very good. So voor welke trein we vandaag? The verb is nemen. What's the correct conjugation of nemen here?
It's nemen. Welke trein nemen we vandaag?
Yeah, very good. So which train do we take today? And the fifth one, in welk land je vorig jaar? And the verb is reizen.
In welk land reisde je vorig jaar?
Yes, very good. Reisde is a D. And an S. So, very good. It seems like, I think I mostly heard 2 people, or 1, I'm not really sure. But
Sure.
you do get it, and that's good. And I hope for the rest of you, it also still makes sense, but we'll again quickly go through it. How do you make the present tense? How do you conjugate it? This is sort of incorrect. I will correct it slightly. So here it says that the stem is the infinitive minus en. Actually, what you then get is what we call the crude stem, whatever. And to form this, and from that you make the stem. And to conjugate any verb in present tense in Dutch, you just follow this thing here. So for ik, it's just the stem. For jij en hij, zij, het, it is the stem die. And for wij, jullie en zij, it's just the infinitive again. So, and this, how to form the stem. Oh, and these are irregular. There's a few more, like 2 more, but almost all verbs in the present simple are regular in Dutch. It's very, very easy. I will skip through this because I want to go here. How do you make the stem? There are 3 rules you need to keep in mind. We're going from the crude stem to the stem. That is, you want to preserve first the long vowel sound. Namely, you have the verb go. You want to if you chop off the end, you get and this sounds different. Observe this, so you add go. The other one is that you don't want double letters where they're necessary. So stem it, chop off en there, left with 2 ends. This does not make a difference in pronunciation. So you just get stem. Oh, you're stuck stem. Oh.
Je valt nu gewoon helemaal weg, Thomas.
Valt nu gewoon helemaal weg, oké.
Ja, nu niet meer, maar toen je net stond, toen
Oké.
was je helemaal weg.
Is het nu ook beter? Volgens mij
Ja.
is het ding.
Could it be the distance that you're away from your computer, or?
Ja, does it matter? Hoor je me nu
I
beter?
Ik hoor je nog steeds, maar af en toe val je wel. Nou ja, nu val je dus niet weg, maar soms val je dus tussendoor op een gegeven moment weg. Maar ik weet niet of
Oké.
het te maken heeft met of je dichtbij bent of veraf bent.
I also don't know what influences that, but please let me know if it happens, because then otherwise I will just use a different microphone. And that sounds a bit worse, but at least you can probably hear me. Or it might be something to do with my internet. I hope not. So is this still you? Are
Yeah.
you not cracking, or am I cracking?
Not yet.
No? Okay, good. So I will repeat what I said in the last bit. So we don't want double letters at the end of a word. Stemmen becomes ik stem, because you have to take away the en. And then, well, normally you're left with 2 m's, but we don't want 2 m's. We don't need that, so we get rid of 1. The same happens with verbs that end on a, aan. Take away the n, and you're left with 2 a's, but you don't need 2 a's at the end of a word. It makes the same sound as 1 a at the end of a word, so we just get rid of 1. The other one is that we don't want z's or v's at the end of words or before a t. That doesn't sound nice in Dutch. I'm not sure who decided that, but we just don't do that. If you show reizen, if you chop off en, you get ik reis with a z. We don't like that, so we change the z into an s. Same with durven, chop off en, you get durf. We don't like that, we make it n. Right? So that's, I think you've heard that at least 5 times already, so I hope you still get that. More interesting cases are the past simple, or not interesting, still very interesting, but more complicated. In the past simple, the regular version of that is pretty easy to construct. Namely, you have to. Very got distracted by someone saying something. You chop off en again, and you construct the stem as follows, and then you check if the last letter of the crude stem is in secties of ketchup. If it is in sections of ketchup, then you take the normal stem and add te or den. If it is not a section soft ketchup, you add de or den. If it is, if the last letter of the So an example of this is that whether it's the crude stem or the normal stem, is that is reizen. If you chop off en, you get reis, the z. Well, this letter isn't section ketchup. So we add de stem. Stem is not reis. Stem is reis. So we get reis. I hope that makes sense. The rule is a bit weird, but if you know how to apply it. In most cases, this weirdness doesn't really happen because a lot of verbs in Dutch are irregular. Past simple. It's not per se any better. To learn these, I would recommend there's a few ways to do that. You can just bang them out or whatever. There's one rule of thumb I can give you, namely that if it is irregular in English, it is probably also irregular in Dutch. For example, go, to buy, drink, that's all regular in English. So approximately 80% of the time, it's but that doesn't tell you, of course, what the irregular form is. There are some rules for that. If you're interested in those rules, I would recommend checking out a website like French Grammar and take a look. I think we have some examples. We give you the verb of the week every day. And those are almost always. So yeah, it's just you need to accumulate. Okay.
Ik hoor je nu helemaal niet, Thomas. Geen geluid. Nope. No, I already told him that he was a test sound. But I think he's fixing it. Yeah, okay. So as Thomas said, I'll take over for a little bit. As Thomas said, just check the stem, or in this case, the crude stem. Check if it's in sexy soft ketchup, the last letter of the word. If so, you put the stem plus te, ten. If not, de or den. All right. All right. So for the irregular verbs, we have a few. You have the infinitive, and the infinitive for these words are hebben, zijn, gaan, mogen, zullen, en kunnen. Okay. So if you have ik, it will be ik had, plural, wij hadden, zijn, ik was, plural, wij waren, gaan, ik ging, plural, wij gingen. Mogen becomes ik mocht. And plural, wij mochten. And then plural would also be the same. Zullen would become zou, plural zouden. En kunnen would become ik kon, plural wij konden. All right. Any questions about irregular verb? In principle, it's just do it like this, and it should be fine. All right. So I don't know the exact English translation of toekomende tijd, but it's just stuff that still is going to happen. All right. So in principle, we have two words, or we can use two words for this tense. It's gaan of zullen. And it will always be gaan plus the infinitive or zullen plus the infinitive. So for example, ik ga eten. Of zij zal zich houden aan de afspraak. So you could say, ik ga vanavond spinazie eten. Of ik zal vanavond de afwas doen. We gaan boodschappen doen. Oh, it's the future tense. Thanks, Thomas. All right. So for zullen, it will be ik zal, jij zal, or zult. Hij zei het zal. And for the plural, it's just the same again. It's always zullen. There's no. All right. Okay. So it will be mijn vakantie begint volgende week. Oh. Oh, okay, we're here. So just going back to this, there is a difference between gaan and zullen, or the use of gaan and zullen. In English, you're always saying, I'm going to do this. But so in that case, it would be the same as in English. But if you use zullen, it should be, I shall do this, I will do this. So I will do the dishes tonight. Ik zal vanavond de afwas doen. And for gaan, it would be the same as in English. We're going to do grocery shopping, or so if there's a time in the sentence, for example, volgende week, then you could just use de tegenwoordige tijd. So mijn vakantie begint volgende week. Overmorgen vlieg ik naar Spanje. So then overmorgen would be the time when I'm going to do it. All right. So if I'm correct, de voltooid tegenwoordige tijd in Dutch is the present perfect.
Milene?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have a question about you just what you just said. So if there is an indication of time in the sentence, we just use the present tense. And is it if we want to express future as well as past, or is it only for future? For example, if it was not volgende week, maar vorige week, can we also use the present?
No, because then it would be my vacation has started last week.
Okay.
So if it's something that is going to happen in the future, or just an indication of time, but if you would say, you would use the past tense, not the present.
Okay. Thanks.
So it would not be mijn vakantie begint volgende week, but mijn vakantie begon vorige week.
Okay, thanks.
Is the rest clear? All right. So, in this case, we use hebben of zijn. In English, you use have always, but for Dutch, that's a bit different. So we use hebben or zijn plus voltooid deelwoord, so the past participle.
I am using it.
Okay, I have sound for you now.
Good. I can take it over if you want.
Okay.
There was some trouble also with another teacher who was apparently
Yeah.
trying to log in with a different email address, and now his class all left. So, not very good. But whatever. Yes. So, let's see. Are we? I need to catch up a bit. Something. Great. Yes. So the toekomstigheid indeed. You can either use just the present tense, the present simple, just kind of make a statement of fact. Oh yeah, mijn vakantie begint volgende week. My vacation starts next week. Or you can use gaan of zullen. Mijn vakantie gaat volgende week beginnen, of mijn vakantie zal volgende week beginnen. Present tense is more of a statement of fact. If it just gaat volgende week beginnen, that's just a statement about the future. And if you use zal, then you're kind of making a promise in a way. It will start next week. Those are kind of the different cases, but there's not that much difference between them. So if you just use them interchangeably, that's totally fine. The present perfect in Dutch is used a lot more often than the past simple, but we'll get to that in a bit. First, how do you make it? You use, indeed, as Milena said, use a conjugation of to have or to be, and then the past participle. For example here, hij is vorig jaar naar Zuid-Afrika geweest. He has been to South Africa last year. Literally, he was last year to South Africa been. And so the past participle, recalling the second lecture, is one of the other verbs. So it is placed always at the end of the sentence. The other one, ik heb mijn koffers al gepakt. I have my suitcases already packed. A very literal translation. When do you use to have or to be, we'll get to in a bit, so don't worry. But most often you use to have. In fact, in English, you also used to use to be sometimes. I'm not sure if this is a very specific example that I always recall. If you see that video of Oppenheimer, talked about creating the atomic bomb, and he recites a poem from some Hindu deity saying, "Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds." So it's very dramatic, and sometimes in English it is still used for dramatic effect or to sound or in archaic cases. But in Dutch, this is still being used to this day. So when do you use it? Almost always when you're talking about an event in the past, except for when it is los van het heden, when it is disconnected from the past. So you're just making a statement about the past that doesn't impact the present. If it is talking about a period in the past that is completed. Avi is calling me, but I will not answer.
Yeah, she wanted to send an email to the members of Joris' class.
Oh, okay.
I think that's it. Yeah, to let them know that they can also join. But
oh, okay. Wait, could you take us over, and then I will do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I kind of need to. Sorry, guys.
All right. All right. Sorry, guys. You have to do it with me again. Okay. So as Thomas said, use this form. Oh. All right. Almost always. So except when it's separate from the present, a period in the past. So from this period till this period, for example, or sometimes when you use the word toen, but not always. I'll explain it later, I hope. I haven't seen this PowerPoint before, so. Okay. So, the first one, when it's apart from the present or separate from the present. Yesterday was my birthday. Gisteren was ik jarig. So it's separate from the present at the moment, or what is happening now, because it was yesterday. The ESN already existed in 1989. So het ESN bestond al in 1989. En 1999 was in de vorige eeuw. So 1999 was in the last century. The next one would be a period in the past. For example, de Tweede Wereldoorlog duurde van 1939 tot 1945. So the Second World War lasted from 1939 till 1945. Or vorige week was het koud en regende het. So last week it was cold and it was raining. Then you also use this. Sorry, don't use this. You don't use the present perfect. And when you use the word toen, but there are two separate forms of toen. You have toen used as then. In that case, you do use the past present. But if it's toen as in when. So, for example, in the first sentence, ik werd wakker toen het licht werd. So I woke up when it was light outside, or when it became light outside. Of toen mijn wekker ging, when my alarm went off, ben ik meteen opgestaan. So when my alarm went off, I immediately got out of bed. So in that case, you would use een onvoltooid verleden tijd. And you use that form always if you use toen as in when. You want to take over again? Okay. I don't think I hear you now.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, yeah, now I hear.
Indeed, those are the only three cases in which you use the present simple, the past simple, sorry, over the present perfect. And this is kind of different from in Dutch from English. Some of the cases are also the same, but in English you would use the past simple a lot more often than the present perfect. And also using the present perfect or the past simple kind of also changes the meaning of the sentence sometimes. Because of these three cases. So if you were to say something in the present, I keep saying present simple, in the past simple, for example, oh ja, ik ben gisteren, I wouldn't want to say I went to a bar, but obviously you don't do that now. Ik heb gisteren een pizza gegeten. Oh no, ik at gisteren een pizza. I ate a pizza yesterday. Then if you're saying that, then you're implying that there's not really an impact on the present, and so you're just telling a story basically. If you're saying it in the present perfect, however, ik heb gisteren pizza gegeten, then it implies something that this still has some effect today. For example, you might follow it up with, so now I feel bloated or something, whatever. Kind of a weird example.
Have some leftovers in the fridge.
yeah. That's a better example. So those are kind of the different cases. And the only one that is kind of different here is toen. That's just how the word toen works. It doesn't really have to do anything with whether it has an effect on the future or not. For example here, toen mijn wekker ging, ben ik meteen opgestaan. That kind of has effect on could have effect on the present. You could say, toen mijn wekker ging, ben ik meteen, toen mijn wekker ging. No, actually, because you used toen, you were talking about a period in the past, basically. So that's why it is the case. Never mind. Let's just continue. So these are the three reasons. Three cases for which you use the past simple. So the three cases
You're
there.
Yeah.
The present perfect. Direct influence to the present. It's not talking about a period in the past, and you're not using. And you can use the present perfect. These are both sentences. So if you just have to guess, use the present perfect. Dutch law. It's the end.
Which microphone did you get? Did you get the? You were a little bit like sort of lagging for a while, but it's okay when you asked me what was up. So
Oh, okay. Is it okay now?
yeah, I think so. It sounds okay.
Open each other. So, here's some examples. Vorig jaar was 2018. Last year was 2018 or 2019. You wouldn't say vorig jaar is 2018 geweest. Because we're talking about a period, completed period in the past. Last year it has been 2018. Sounds a bit dramatic. Right? 20 jaar geleden was ik 5 jaar oud. 20 years ago, I was 5 years old. You wouldn't say 20 jaar geleden ben ik 5 jaar oud geweest. Because that implies the fact that you were 5, 20 years ago has some measurable effect. Now, in principle it does. We're just kind of talking about a closed period of time. And here again, ik stop meteen op.
I can hear you now.
Can't?
I could understand can't, but I couldn't hear you before.
Oh, okay. This is a pretty good problem. Maybe if I just hold this. I feel like I might be rubbing it. Is this better?
Seems to be.
Okay, good. So here are some examples of the change of meaning. Ik heb gisteren boodschappen gedaan. I did groceries yesterday. And it implies that it has some effect now. And that's why I did groceries yesterday, and that's why I have fridge now. You said, ik deed gisteren boodschappen. And it's just a statement. Okay, what did you do yesterday? Oh yeah. Zij is vorige maand aangekomen in Nederland. She arrived in Netherlands. Or zij kwam vorige maand aan in Nederland. If zij is vorige maand aangekomen in Nederland, that she's kind of still weird.
Sound is still weird.
Sound is still weird. Damn it.
It's weird because when you're putting your microphone to your mouth, it's okay. But then at some point you're talking and there's like no sound, and then suddenly you're back again, and actually like quite a good volume, and then you're gone again, and then.
Okay. I will try to fix this a bit more. Maybe you could still take over. We're having a break in a bit anyway.
Yeah. All right.
I did
So
today, so maybe that's why.
Oh, maybe. The previous slide? Yeah. Okay, we'll go back to that first. All right. Is this the one that you mean? So when to use it, the first one, okay, good. The first one would be, does it have a direct influence on the present, on today? So for example, the sentence that Thomas was talking about the pizza, you could say you ate a pizza yesterday, that's fine. But for example, if you would want to say, so I ate a pizza yesterday, ik heb gisteren pizza gegeten, then you would use the present perfect instead of the past simple. But only if it has some meaning for today. So for example, ik heb gisteren pizza gegeten en nu heb ik leftovers in de koelkast staan. So now I have leftovers in the fridge. In that case, you would use the present perfect. But if it doesn't have a direct influence on today, on the present, then you don't use that. So you just say, ik at gisteren pizza. So for the second reason, is there no period in the past? If there is a period in the past, for example, I did my bachelor's in Utrecht from 2014 till 2017, for example, then you would say, ik heb mijn bachelor gedaan in Utrecht van blah 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 till something. So for example, I think I did that wrong anyways, by the way. Just go back to this one. So de Tweede Wereldoorlog duurde van 1939 tot 1949. Of 1945. Then you use the past simple instead of the present perfect. And if there's no toen in the sentence, then you can also use the past simple. So in the first sentence, it says vorig jaar was 2018. En dat vorig jaar is 2018 geweest. Because last year was 2018, but for example, so this case 2019, but it doesn't mean anything in the present. And there's a past or like a time indication. So last year, vorig jaar. Ik stond meteen op toen ik wakker werd. And you wouldn't say ik stond meteen op toen ik wakker ben geworden. Because it doesn't have any meaning anymore. So for the next, ik heb gisteren boodschappen gedaan. That would be if it does have some meaning in the present. Or ik deed gisteren boodschappen. So present perfect or past simple. Zij is vorige maand aangekomen in Nederland. And is now still here, for example. En verblijft nu bij mij. She's staying with me. Would mean that she has, or that still has a meaning right now. Or past simple, zij kwam vorige maand aan in Nederland. That's it. It happened in the past, but nothing in the present, so it's okay. You use the past simple. Wij zijn gisteren naar de Puma geweest, which is a club. So we can go there now. Would mean that it has some meaning and then this stuff happened, or so while you're telling a story, it's still relevant in the present. Of wij gingen gisteren naar de Puma and it was just that, you're just telling a story in the past simple. We went to the Puma yesterday, that's it. Does that make it more clear? For the one who wanted to have a little bit of a repeat of the previous slides? Okay, good. So whether to use zijn of hebben. Zijn, it's a verb of movement. And you use it if there's a beginning or an endpoint named in the sentence. Or for verbs that indicate that the situation is changing. Okay, for hebben.
Hi.
I was already, yeah.
I don't think today is fixed, but I think maybe we could take a break right now.
Also good.
It's already 5 to 7. So maybe
Oh yeah,
a 10
okay.
break. We join back again, and that also gives me some time to
fix
stop recording and restart my computer, and then maybe it will work again.
All right. So guys, be back at 7:05, and you have a little bit of a break to go to the toilet or get something to drink or.
Yes. Right. See you back soon. If you have any questions in the break, we can also try to answer them.